What's good, Vikings Nation? It's your boy, hyped up and ready to break down the latest Vikings news. Our boys in purple took a tough 20-12 loss to the New England Patriots in the second preseason game on August 16, 2025. But the real story? The quarterback battle stealing the spotlight. J.J. McCarthy, our QB1 of the future, sat this one out, leaving the backup job up for grabs. Who's stepping up to be the guy behind our star? Let's set the stage for this epic showdown. This game wasn't just about the scoreboard. It was a proving ground for Sam Howell, Brett Rypien, and rookie Max Brosmer. Each got their shot to shine, and trust me, the results were a mixed bag. Head coach Kevin O'Connell's got a tough call to make, and the Vikings fanbase is on the edge of our seats. So what went down? Let's dive into the action and see who's making a case for QB2. Here's the teaser. One QB struggled, another showed grit, and a rookie might just be the dark horse we didn't see coming. Who's got your vote for the backup role? Drop it in the comments below and let's get this conversation started. Let's kick things off with Sam Howell, the guy who started the game as the presumed QB2. Against the Patriots, it was a rough night. Howell completed just one of 5 passes for 13 yards, threw a pick, and ended with a 0.0 QB rating. Ouch. That's not the stat line you want when you're fighting for a spot on the Minnesota Vikings roster. But hold up, is it all his fault? He was facing New England's starting defense, and maybe without some key offensive weapons. Coach O'Connell didn't throw Howell under the bus, though. He said it wasn't about what Howell did or didn't do. It was about giving everyone a fair look. That's the kind of leadership we love from KOC, right? Still, Howell's got to shake off this performance. He showed promise in the first preseason game against Houston, going 11-for-13 for 105 yards and a 100.3 rating. Which version of Howell shows up when it counts? Vikings fans, what's your take? Is Howell still the guy to back up J.J. McCarthy? Or did this game shake your confidence? Let me know in the comments, and let's keep digging into this QB puzzle. Now, let's talk about Brett Rypien, the veteran who's been around the block. He came in for the second quarter, and while his stat line wasn't dazzling, 1 for 4 for 6 yards in the first preseason game, he's got that experience edge. O'Connell praised Rypien's ability to handle tough situations, even pointing out a missed opportunity in the Houston game where a deep ball to Jeshaun Jones could have changed the narrative. That's the kind of play that keeps Rypien in the mix. What's interesting is how KOC talks about mental reps for backups. Rypien's been taking those shadow drops behind the play, visualizing the game without always getting the snaps. That's huge for a QB2 who might need to step in cold. But is that enough to lock down the job? He's got the know-how, but the flash isn't always there. So, Vikings Nation, does Rypien's veteran savvy give him the edge? Or do we need more pop from our QB2? Hit me with your thoughts below, and let's move on to the rookie stealing some headlines. Enter Max Brosmer, the undrafted free agent rookie who's turning heads. This Minnesota native, who balled out at the University of New Hampshire in Minnesota, got the entire second half against the Patriots. And let me tell you, he didn't disappoint. O'Connell raved about Brosmer's fast eyes and ability to avoid putting the ball in harm's way, a rare trait for a rookie. That's the kind of poise we love in the Vikings huddle. Brosmer had an explosive play in the passing game that got called back by a penalty, plus a clutch dagger throw on 4th down that showed his ceiling. In the first preseason game, he went 5-for-8 for 47 yards and a touchdown, posting a 118.1 QB rating. Not bad for a guy who's supposed to be QB3, right? He's making a case, and the Vikings news is buzzing about it. What do you think, SKOL Squad? Is Brosmer a legit contender for QB2? Or is he better suited for the practice squad? Drop your hot takes in the comments, and let's keep this QB battle rolling. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Coach O'Connell made it crystal clear. The QB2 job is still wide open. He's playing all 3 guys, Howell, Rypien, and Brosmer, because no one's locked it down yet. That's both exciting and nerve-wracking for us Vikings fans. We've got a superstar in J.J. McCarthy, but if he goes down, who's ready to step up and keep our playoff dreams alive? O'Connell's approach is all about competition. He's giving each QB a chance to prove themselves in game-like situations, like those joint practices with the Patriots where McCarthy shined. But for the backups, it's about handling pressure without the full first-team support. That's the reality of being QB2, and it's why this battle is so intense. Vikings Nation, who's got the mental toughness to be our backup? Are you Team Howell, Team Rippin, or Team Brosmer? Let's hear it in the comments, and let's break down what went wrong for Howell against New England. Back to Sam Howell for a second, because his struggles against the Patriots are a big talking point in Vikings news. Facing a starting defense is no joke, and Howell's 1-for-5 performance with an interception raised some eyebrows. But let's give credit where it's due. In the week leading up to the game, he had a strong showing in practice. That's the roller coaster with Howell. Flashes of brilliance mixed with moments that make you wince. Alec Lewis from The Athletic noted that Howell's decision-making has been a beat slow, a problem that's followed him from his Washington days. In 2023, he threw for 3,946 yards but also had 21 picks and took 65 sacks. Can Coach O'Connell fix those flaws and unlock Howell's potential? That's the million-dollar question for our Minnesota Vikings. What's your vibe on Howell, SKOL fans? Can he shake off this rough game and lock down QB2? Or is it time to look elsewhere? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about Rippin's case next. Brett Rippin's been in the NFL since 2019, bouncing around with teams like the Broncos, Rams, and Seahawks. He's not the guy who's going to wow you with arm strength or flashy plays, but he's got that veteran know-how. In the first preseason game against Houston, he took a couple of sacks and went 1-for-4. But O'Connell pointed out a deep ball that could have been a game-changer if Jeshaun Jones hauled it in. That's the kind of what-if moment that keeps Rippin in the conversation. O'Connell loves how Rippin maximizes mental reps, those behind-the-scenes moments where he's visualizing plays without actually taking snaps. That's huge for a backup who might only get a handful of reps in practice. But is that enough to beat out Howell or Brosmer? The Vikings need a QB2 who can step in and win games, not just manage them. Vikings fans, is Rippin's experience enough to make him QB2? Or do we need more upside? Let me know in the comments, and let's see why Brosmer's got everyone talking. Max Brosmer is the wild card in this QB battle, and Vikings news can't stop buzzing about him. This undrafted rookie from Minnesota has a story that hits home. He led the FCS with 3,464 passing yards at New Hampshire in 2023 and showed poise at the University of Minnesota. Against Houston, he went 5-for-8 for 47 yards and a touchdown. Pretty solid for a guy who's supposed to be a long shot. Against the Patriots, Brosmer got the whole second half, and O'Connell couldn't stop praising his quick decision-making and ability to protect the ball. That dagger throw on fourth down? Pure clutch. Plus, his local roots make him a fan favorite. Could this kid be the steal of the Minnesota Vikings draft class? SKOL Nation, are you buying the Brosmer hype? Could he leapfrog Howell and Rippin for QB2? Or is he a practice squad gem? Hit me with your predictions in the comments, and let's talk about what O'Connell's looking for. Coach O'Connell's got a clear vision for what he wants in a backup QB, and it's all about execution under pressure. He talked about how backups need to own the plan without taking all the reps. Mental preparation is key. That's why he's giving all three QBs, Howell, Rippin, and Brosmer, game time to show what they've got. The Vikings can't afford a weak link behind McCarthy, especially with a tough season ahead. O'Connell's also looking for guys who can step into a game and convert, like Nick Mullins did with 2 third-down conversions on his first 2 snaps last year. That's the standard. Whether it's Howell's arm, Rippin's experience, or Brosmer's upside, someone's got to prove they can deliver when the Minnesota Vikings call their number. Who do you think fits O'Connell's mold best, Vikings fans? Drop your pick in the comments, and let's see how the first preseason game set the stage for this battle. Let's rewind to the first preseason game against Houston, because it gives us some context for this QB race. Sam Howell looked sharp, going 11-for-13 for 105 yards and a 100.3 QB rating. That's the kind of performance that had Vikings news buzzing about him as the clear QB2 favorite. But then the Patriots game happened, and suddenly, it's not so clear-cut. Brett Rippin and Max Brosmer also got their shots against Houston. Rippin struggled, taking sacks and completing just 1 pass, but O'Connell saw potential in his deep ball. Brosmer, though, stole the show with a 118.1 rating and a touchdown. That game showed us the Minnesota Vikings have options, but also raised questions about consistency. Vikings Nation, which QB's Houston performance impressed you most? And does it outweigh Howell's struggles against New England? Let me know in the comments, and let's talk about the challenges ahead. The backup QB job isn't just about throwing pretty passes, it's about handling adversity. O'Connell pointed out that Howell faced tough circumstances against the Patriots, likely without the full first-team offensive line or top weapons like Justin Jefferson, who's been nursing a hamstring injury. That's the reality of being QB2. You might get thrown into the fire with less than ideal support. Howell's struggles in training camp against Minnesota's first-team defense, bolstered by studs like Jonathan Greenid and Javon Hargrave, also show how steep the learning curve is. Rippon's been there before, but his ceiling seems lower. Brosmer, meanwhile, is flashing potential but lacks NFL experience. The Vikings need someone who can handle the heat. SKOL fans, who's got the grit to step up in a pinch? Share your thoughts below, and let's look at what Vikings News is saying about the future. The Vikings News wire is buzzing with speculation about this QB battle, and some reports are raising eyebrows. Alec Lewis from The Athletic called Howell's decision-making a beat slow, echoing concerns from his time in Washington. Meanwhile, posts on X from insiders like Colin Cowherd and Diana Rossini suggest McCarthy hasn't been wowing everyone in camp, which could put more pressure on the backup to be ready. But let's pump the brakes. Those X posts are just chatter, not gospel. McCarthy's still QB1, and the Minnesota Vikings are all in on him after his 16-4-19 performance in joint practices with the Patriots. The real question is who can back him up if things go south. Could the Vikings look to the trade market or free agency for a veteran like Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill? What do you think, Vikings fans? Should we stick with Howell, Rippon, and Brosmer or make a splash for a veteran? Drop your hot takes in the comments, and let's keep this going. Speaking of veterans, Vikings News has been floating some big names as potential QB2 options. Kirk Cousins. Anyone? A reunion could be a game-changer, given his history with O'Connell's system. Then there's Ryan Tannehill, who's been linked to the Vikings per Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz. Even Carson Wentz or Teddy Bridgewater could bring some veteran savvy. But signing a big name might mess with our 2026 compensatory picks. So GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is playing it cool. The Minnesota Vikings seem content with their current trio for now, but the clock's ticking. With the regular season just weeks away, September 8th against Chicago is coming fast. O'Connell needs to lock in his QB2 soon. Will it be Howell's experience, Rippon's reliability, or Brosmer's upside? The suspense is killing me. SKOL Nation, would you love a Cousins reunion? Or are you good with our current QBs? Hit me with your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about what's at stake. Let's talk stakes because this QB battle isn't just about preseason games. The Vikings are built to contend in 2025, with playmakers like Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones. If McCarthy goes down, the backup QB has to keep this high-powered offense humming. A weak QB2 could derail our playoff hopes, and that's not what we're about in Minnesota. O'Connell's been clear. He wants a QB who can step in and execute the game plan with confidence. Howell's got the arm but needs to be quicker. Rippon's steady but not spectacular. Brosmer's got the it factor but no NFL reps. The Minnesota Vikings need someone who can deliver under pressure, and this preseason is their audition. Vikings fans, what's the biggest trait you want in our QB2? Arm strength, smarts, or something else? Drop it in the comments, and let's wrap this up with a look at what's next. Alright, Vikings Nation, we're at the finish line, but this QB battle is far from over. The Minnesota Vikings face the Cleveland Browns in their final preseason game on August 24, 2025. And you better believe all eyes will be on Howell, Rippon, and Brosmer. O'Connell's got one more chance to see who can step up before the regular season kicks off. Will Howell bounce back? Can Rippon show more flash? Or will Brosmer keep stealing the show? The Vikings News will keep us posted, but one thing's for sure. This team is loaded with talent, and the right QB2 could be the key to a deep playoff run. I'm hyped for what's coming, and I know you are too, SKOL fans. Let's keep the passion alive as we head into the season. If you're as pumped as I am about this QB battle, smash that like button, drop your pick for QB2 in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more Vikings news. Share this video with your fellow Vikings fans, and let's get US Bank Stadium rocking. SKOL Vikings!